Welcome everyone to another episode of Cosmic Rabbit. Today we have Thiago, the director from MUFON for Brazil. So Thiago, tell us a little bit about yourself. Tell us about how you got into ufology.
Hi, Stephanie. Thank you very much for the invitation. It's a pleasure to be here. Well,
Likewise.
I started when I don't know. I think I have ufology in my blood. I started when I was a kid, reading magazines, comic books like Spider-Man and Captain America and Thor and Hulk, and UFO magazines. So for me, it started when I was very young, and but I started to investigate the UFO phenomena when I was 19 years old. When I moved to Brasilia, I'm from Rio de Janeiro, and I moved to Brasilia, and I joined a group, a UFO group here in Brasilia, and I started to investigate, seriously investigate. So far, over than 30 years, investigated the phenomena, and I still not have the answer.
Oh no, I'm just starting. So I actually also see that you are the editor of the UFO magazine in Brazil. You're part of the Scientific Coalition of UAP Studies, and you're the director of the international relations at the Brazilian Commission of Ufologists, right? So you're very much involved, like you said, 30 years. So the reason I wanted to bring you in today is obviously Lou Elizondo's recent book, Imminent, has kind of brought attention back to the Colares case, which I'm
Yeah.
sure you are very, very familiar with. So I kind of wanted to go over that a little bit. And then really, I wanted to bring you in because I think it's really important to talk about UFO cases that are outside of the United States. A lot of people within the United States that don't know about UFOs very much, or even they might know about it or hear about it, they're not really aware of just how often it happens outside of the United States, and a lot in Brazil, actually, right?
Yeah, Brazil is a hotspot. Brazil is Brazil is the size of a continent. We are the 50 country largest country in the world, so we have all types of kind of UFO phenomena here in Brazil. We have abduction, we have UFO attacks, we have UFO crashes. So we have everything here in Brazil. And in the book Eminent by Louis Elizondo, he wrote about Colares, just a little chapter about Colares. But Colares is much more than that, much more. And everything started in 1977 when people from several cities in north of Brazil, Pará state and Maranhão state, they were being attacked by some kind of lights. They call it vampire lights because those lights sucked their blood. The people are sleeping or walking or fishing or, you know, outside or inside of their houses, and a UFO, UAP, lights, whatever, shoot down a laser beam and hit the person. In the most cases, in a woman, the laser got in up the chest, above the chest, and the man in the neck and in the leg. And people got sick, dizzy, headache, and weak. And they went to the hospital, a small hospital, because Brazil, the north of Brazil, is big. It's bigger
Mhm.
than many countries in Europe and Central America.
It's like the East Coast, right? Like right on the coast. It's an island, I think. It was. Is
Yeah,
it sort of like an island?
Colares is an island
Little
in the
island,
Pará
right?
state. It's a island. You can get there through a ferry or or a boat. And people went to the hospitals, one hospital. And when they get there, the doctor, Dr. Velaide, she examined those victims and discovered that they had some kind of problem in their blood. They had no iron or a lack of iron in their blood. They got anemia. So those things back the time were sucking not only the blood, but also the iron from the blood of the victim. So, what was it? We don't know. Still, we don't know. And then the mayors of several cities just asked the military, to the Brazilian Air Force, because in the sky, Brazilian Air Force,
Right.
to investigate it. And they did. They started to investigate it. They sent a group to investigate. The leader of the group was Captain Holanda. He was a skeptical from the beginning, and then he changed his mind, and they start to investigate. They start to make vigils and sleep in a beach to try to see something, and they saw a lot of things. They got many testimonies, and they got a lot of photos, and they concluded by themselves. They concluded those things that were attacking people were some kind of control by some intelligence. And we are talking something in 97.7. And those
Yeah.
things, those UAPs, UFOs, they can fly in the sky and dive in the rivers. Well, the Amazon River, the Pará River, the Madeira River, the Colares River, the, those rivers are larger, so large, so big that you cannot see the horizon, the other side of the river. They like the ocean. So
Okay.
those UFOs, they can dive and and the same speed they use in the sky, they use in the on the water, and they disappear and appear again, coming in and coming out of the river. So they think that those things are not from this planet. And I never heard in my 30 years of UFO investigation, I never heard cases like that where UFO attacked people with such blood. And at least we know, at least that 3 people died because of that.
Yeah, that's why I was really. I think that's probably why he put it in his book. It was very different from other cases where they were actually being chased by these lights, by these beams, uh, by the UFOs, and that's actually something else I wanted to talk about. Part of the sightings in Colares were not just craft; it was also orbs, right? So like different color orbs. Did you see from the reports, were there any correlations to the colors and how they acted or how they behaved toward the people of Colares? Like, was the green one the one that was sucking the blood, or the blue one? Did you find any kind of correlations with that?
There's no correlations. What we got there, many types of crafts. I'm telling you, crafts like cylinder, like disc shaped, like spherical. Many times, at least 8 types of crafts told by the witnesses. So the orbs, we also had orbs like a meter of diameter, but we had huge UFOs, like 100 meters size UFOs. And all of this kind of aircraft, I don't know, probes, orbs, whatever, or the craft, all this apparel, the things hit people with the laser beams. So there's no correlation. They have many of the objects had red or green or blue lights, but they all did the same.
Okay, so something that we talked about off camera that I wanted to actually bring up, the what it seems like from the book and what Lou's been talking about, it's a little bit of, I don't want to say like a threat narrative, but he is bringing about how these things have the potential to be threatening. And so my question is, with that specific situation that happened in Colares, one of the things that I thought about and I asked you about was, since there were so many different crafts, could it possibly be another nation that was testing out their technology on the people of Colares? Is that something that you think could be it, or more than likely not?
No, I don't think so. I don't think so because the craft were so huge. The maneuvers that they did, were impossible to do even today. We are talking something that happened in 97.7. Tell
Yeah.
me, tell me if we have some kind of a craft that can fly in the sky and dive in the ocean. We don't have it. We
Yeah.
had in 2017, 2008 the videos from Pentagon, the TikTok, they go fast in gimbal. The TikTok just hover over the ocean and dive and then get out of the ocean. What technology is that? We don't
Yeah.
have it. Many people say, "Well, it could be some kind of a project experiment from United States, from Russia." That time in 77, we had the Soviet Union. The China was nothing. Not 97.7, China was nothing. Just a rural country with no technology. So if you do have this technology since 97.7, where are they now? If it was a Russian, they could end the Ukraine war.
Right.
If we're
And right. No, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
yeah, and if it was from America, from United States, they could, you know, end the Afghanistan and the Iraq war in one night. So what was that?
And not only that, but there were reported beings that were seen, right? You want to talk a little bit about the beings. So, what were the reports on the beings and how did they communicate? Was it like telepathically, like we normally hear? Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, what there's no communication. There's no report that people communication with the extraterrestrials. Let's say aliens. But they were there were some two types of aliens there. The Nordics, the blondes, white skin, blonde hair, blue or green eyes, a little taller than citizen in north of Pará, and the Greys. People also saw the Greys wearing suit. So what we are dealing with two types of civilizations. One type of civilization that had two types of beings living together, or they are a group that are here to investigate, to suck blood, do something like that. And in one of the reports, a group of friends were in their house, outside the house, in the street during the night, and they saw a UFO, a cylinder UFO type,
Mhm.
with an antenna that started to shoot down red laser in the people. And inside this cylinder, there's a window or a glass. There was a glass that people could see two beings inside of the UFO. They were small beings, like grays, but wearing suitcases, very tight
Okay.
suitcase. And they tried to run, and one of the ray got one of the person, and they got dizzy, and their suck and their blood was sucked also. So what
Okay.
was that? We don't know. And Captain Hollanda, he told in an interview in 1997, 20 years later, to AJ Jever and Marco Antonio Petit, he told that he got in contact with one of these entities, one of these aliens, but he didn't get in communication. He was in front of the alien, like a meter, 2 meters from the alien, but he didn't talk with him because he was afraid. And of course, the alien go back to the
Was
UFO.
it a gray that he talked about? Was it
It was
were
a
they
gray.
seen
It was a
together,
gray.
the Nordics and the Greys, or they were seen like separately?
Separately,
Separately.
in
Okay.
different cases. In this case,
Okay.
Captain Hollanda saw was a humanoid, like a gray,
Hmm.
that came from a huge UFO that landed above a river in Colares. Captain Hollanda was
Okay.
there investigating, and
Okay, so he had his own experience.
he
Okay.
had his own experience with the bin, and a lot of experiences seeing something in the sky, UFOs in the sky. The
Hmm.
Brazilian team, the military, they got more than 200 photos of the UFO and more than 22 hours of film, Super 8 millimeters film videos. And but you're gonna ask me, but I'm gonna answer before you ask me. We don't have these films. Where are these films? We have three options. One, lost because past almost 40 years, lost because a film they lost.
Mhm.
They're not kept properly, so lost it.
Mhm.
They are lost in Brazilian files, or they were given back, give it to some country like USA.
Oh, I think you're here. The audio is a little.
For me,
Yeah, I could hear you. I could hear you now. Okay, so what do you think it is? Do you think the Brazilian Air Force gave it to a particular country, perhaps?
say again, please. Sorry.
What do you? That's okay. What do you think happened to those? To the footage and the photos? I think I read somewhere that only some of the photos were released, not all of them. It was something like less than half of the photos were released.
Yeah, what we know is that many of the most part of the photos were released. We know that because we had a campaign here in Brazil called UFO Freedom of Information Now. So we got it. We got a success with that. But some pictures, and I think the most clear pictures, they're missing, and we don't know where they are because the Brazilian Air Force, we talked to them several times. They said, well, everything that we had, we gave to you, to the society, to the Brazilian citizen, to National Archives here in Brazil. But we don't believe in them because we know there are the films. There are the films, and many reports they have photos of the films. But where are the films? We don't know. We we we, we think that we now we have more than 500 photos of this plate operation since 1997 to 1982. Many made by the press, by the newspapers in Pará, and some, many, a lot of course, by the military. But we're looking for 100, 150 photos that we're still looking for it because we know that they exist. And the best photos, in our opinion, because we have evidence that some intelligence agency from the United States came to Brazil. We don't know if it was CIA, FBI, NSA, we don't know. But we believe and have some evidence that they sent some agents here to Brazil to take these photos and films. Even more, they took the medical reports of the victims. So
Mhm.
if you look for the medical reports of the victims, you will not find it in Colares or in Barcarena or in Sun Bay. You will not find it because they're not here.
The photos that came out in like while I think it was Carlos Mendez that you said was the journalist that was, or I saw that in I saw that in one of the documentaries that I was watching. I think he was the one that was like taking the photos, right? The photos that came out in the newspapers, did those all come out with the freedom of information now? Did all of those come out, or were you able to see that some of them actually didn't come out, the ones from the newspaper? Does that make sense what I'm asking? Did they all come out,
Yes,
those? Okay.
yes. But if you ask for the originals of these photos, you're never gonna find it because, as Carlos said to us, Ribamar was the photographer and Carlos was the journalist. They are together working, and Carlos told us that the Brazilian military, together with some kind of foreign people, they're pressing too much, too hard. The editor of the newspaper in Pará, and at least they asked they asked to the editor the photos and the files, and the editor gave to them. So the photos that we have today is because Carlos and Hibama, they kept some copies of the photos in their houses, because if they didn't, we probably we wouldn't have these photos. So
Interesting. So
yeah,
when would we be able to
if
see
you
those?
yeah yes, if you're looking for the originals, negative, the originals, you will not find it because it's not in Brazil anymore.
Yeah. So another question that I wanted to ask or talk about and bring to light is the circumstances around Holanda and what happened there, because in the book, in Imminent, he does talk about Captain Holanda being found, or it was determined that it was a suicide. And I don't know whether or not that was something that other people agreed with. But what I think was important to highlight was that originally he was the one that was leading the operation. He was the one that went back and reported and said, yes, this is happening or this is not happening. To the Brazilian Air Force, at one point he did say there were UFOs, but to the people of Colares and to just the media in general, for 20 years they said, oh no, it was just lights, it was nothing. And then in 1997 with AJ, he did an interview where he actually spoke and said, this is what happened. And he basically laid out everything. And then a few months later, he was found dead. And so how did that impact Brazil? How did that impact Colares? How did that impact ufology as a whole? Because I think his act of coming out after being retired and then being found that way, I'm sure that was big in just communicating just how important this topic is.
Well, for us, he's a hero. He's a hero. He got the courage to come out and say everything he knew about it, everything. And he gave us documents because he has copies of the documents as well and copies of the photos. So and he gave to AJ Javer and to Marco Antonio Petit. But before that, he spoke with Bob Pratt and about a little about, but he gave everything to AJ and Marco Antonio Petit. And for us, first of all, he committed suicide. He had some health problems, like psychological problems. Well, always there's the conspiracy theory about his death, but he had some problems. My father-in-law was a military as well. My father was military. My father-in-law was a military, and he knew Holanda, Captain Holanda. And he told me, Thiago, he always had some kind of issue problems, of depression, something like that.
Struggling, right?
Yeah, he was struggling with depression, and he committed suicide. And when he spoke to the world, when we speak to AJ, to Heavy Stove Magazine, and PG, we spoke to the world. It was very important because from there we had the sure, we were sure that everything that many people told us many years ago, it was true. And many people, when it came to us to say, wow, I live in Pará, I live in Maranhão, and we heard something like that, I was attacked by a light, we had no evidence for that. And after Holanda came out and said everything, now these people uh, had the
Validation.
yeah, no, yeah, for that they were released, they're free to
Right,
speak.
right.
They were free to speak. Now, you're not crazy. Happened. It really happened. So it was very important. And I think that from that point, the ufology in Brazil just changed it a lot. Because we had, before the plate, operation plate, We had a lot. We have a lot of cases, important cases, the Vilas Boas and the Batuba. We have a lot of it. But from that point forward, I had we the world looked at Brazil and said, "Whoa, Brazil! They investigate it. They're looking for it." But unfortunately, was just for a couple of years, and now we don't have nothing. The Brazilians not to investigate nothing.
That was my next question was, what is the Brazilian government, or what is just Brazil in general? How do they handle these cases? You know, in the US, obviously, it's still stigmatized, it's still ridiculed. As far as like what to do with reporting, there's not like a set thing for reporting. And, you know, we have our little small UFO community, but it's still not a conversation that everybody's having. So is that what you're seeing in Brazil? Or like, do you guys feel like you're more open and more willing to have this conversation? Or do you feel like it's a lot like the United States?
No, the Brazil is more open because we don't care. The Brazilian government they didn't care about it, doesn't care about it
I
because
see.
we have major problems here, and
Right.
they will not spend time and money to investigate in something that we ufologists in Brazil think is very important. And the people here in Brazil, the Brazilians, they believe that, let's say, 900%, 90% of Brazilians believe that we are not alone in the universe.
Oh, that's a
And
big
80
number.
yes, but 80 or 70% believe that they come to their planet. And but the government of Brazil should have pay more attention for that, because if we have something in the sky, a UFO or UAP, and that's not ours, we have to know where they come from. If from the United States, from Russia, from China, from Japan, from Venezuela, Cuba, I don't know. But we have to, because it's a national security matter subject.
Right.
I think
Right.
it's very important. And they don't care about it. They don't care about it.
Do
Uh,
they not have any like mandates where they have to report it? The pilots or like military, there's no like there's no mandate where you have to report. I guess it's just whoever wants to report it reports it.
there is no mandate. There's no mandate.
No mandate.
They can report. They can report, but it's
But
not.
then nothing's followed up on after that, I guess.
No, no. If they report this, a military or a civilian pilot, civil pilot, they report and to the Air Force, and Air Force analyze, just check it out, and then in the end of the year they send this report that, well, this report can go, this report we will not follow it. They send a report to the Brazilian National Archives. So every year we have 20, 35, 10, none of reports in National Archives, Brazilian National Archives, to be consulted by. It's free for anyone in Brazil if you want to read the report. Is there, but the report's just like, oh, I saw a light and make some movements, and the like, just follow my airplane. There's nothing like that. Whoa, we dispatch three jet fighters to pursue and get and shoot them down UFOs. You will
No,
not find it in our archive,
no.
because this type of files, in my opinion, is a national security matter.
Okay.
So
Okay.
they're gonna keep it. They will not
Right.
publish it. So they just keep it, not never investigate it. Just keep it. Say, okay, well, is something that far away advanced than us. So let's keep it. Let's do it.
Hmm. So do you think then that there are, you know, in the United States, there's beliefs or you know where we think that there's black projects or other private companies that are trying to reverse engineer and are studying this phenomenon. Do you think something like that is actually going on in Brazil? And we're just
No.
no.
In Brazil's quite
And
different from the United States.
okay, I know you said
Uh,
that like in terms of money, right? Like that's something that it's
and
just
money
not.
in the way they share the money, because here in Brazil we have three forces: Navy, Army, and Air Force. We have a budget, and each of these forces got 1/3 of the budget. Navy 33.30%, Army 33.30%, and Air Force 33.33% to get 100%. United States is different. The NSA, the FBI, the CIA, the Army, the Navy, the Mariners, the Air Force, they fight to get the budget. Here we don't fight to get budget. All the forces have to receive the same, and they do what they do, and the money that they get, it does allow them to use to create, for example, a group to investigate the UFOs and UAPs. It's not our it's not it's not in our head to think that if we investigate a technology is far away, far beyond our knowledge, our technology, we could if we understand this technology is going to be good for us. We don't think like that. United States think like that. Russia, China,
behind
France, also.
behind closed doors they think like that,
But
but
they
they
but
need
they
to.
do. Yes, but
Yeah.
they do. For what? Oh, for army, of course they're going to use this technology for defense, for the military, of course. And of course some part's going to be to the American people. But here in Brazil, we don't think it. We don't have a budget, secret budget. We have secret budget for other reasons, for our congressmen, for other things, but not for us to the UFOs.
Oh, that's sad because I think what you just said, you touched on something really important. Like a lot of people that aren't into this topic, they just generally don't care, but they don't realize that understanding or knowing where this is coming from, understanding the technology, or just knowing that we have intelligent life that's coming to visit us, that can really change us in really positive ways. I don't think it's going to be all positive. I think some people are really going to have a lot of trouble accepting it, and kind of integrating into their lives. But at the end of the day, there's a lot of good things that can come from it, whether it be technology, whether it be like spiritual, whether it be science. Just there's so many aspects of it that could bring positivity, and it's a little frustrating to see that not just the United States but other parts of the world are not taking it as seriously. um,
Yeah, yeah. In Brazil, we should take more attention to this subject. We had UFO crash here in Virginia in 1996, and we gave the United States, we gave the UFO and the alien bodies. So
do you think you guys gave them, or the United States went and took them?
no, we gave to you, and some say that in exchange you gave us a spot in to, to send us the first astronaut, Brazilian astronaut, to the space.
Oh,
Oh, some say that. Some say that. I'm not
you
saying
never.
it's
Some
true.
rumors come from something, right? They always
Yeah.
come from some kernel of truth, whether it's
Yes.
like, yeah. So
Yes.
yeah. So as far as Colares, like, from what I understood back in 1977, it was a very, very like small town, like about 10,000 people, and there was a reportings of about 2,000 people that were attacked, followed, saw, just reportings of the UFOs. What about neighboring what about neighboring towns in that area? Because it seems like it was off in the coast, and from what I saw or what I was reading, is that the UFOs were kind of going up and down the coast. Were there any other reportings along that coastline?
Yeah, many cases, not only in the coast, but many attacks inner Brazil, in a cities far from away from the coast. But the military, just because more was easier for them to be there, they just spend time in a few cities like Colares, like Barcarena, like Bahia do Sol. But Carlos made investigate much more than the Brazilian militaries. They went to cities far from the coast. And when I say that 2,000 people were attacked, it's was estimative. And I cannot count inner of Brazil in those cities that was very far from the civilization, let's say. Because in north of Brazil, if you want to go to a city, to another city, you have to take over 1 hour, 2 hours by ferry or boat, or you can go by car for 5 hours. So it's very far from each city. And we, we estimate that 2,000 people have been attacked, over than 250,000 people saw something in the sky. A quarter million,
250,000 people
yes, a quarter
at the time of
million of
Colares, you're saying?
all the area, in Pará state and Maranhão state, in several cities,
Oh my
several
gosh.
cities. A
A
quarter of
quarter of
million
a million.
people saw something in the sky, and 2,000 were attacked. So we have a quarter of a million witnesses of UFOs. And
Wow. I had
I
no idea.
suppose, yes, and I suppose that we could have much more, because the investigator didn't go to cities far from the Colares, far from Belém. So I
Yeah.
think it's going to be much more people.
Were there any sightings of this kind before 1977 in that area, or was this like the first time that there were sightings like that
No,
reported?
we always had sightings in north of Brazil, in a jungle, in Amazon forest, but not like this, not attacking people. It just happened in 97.7, 97.7, and 97.8. We had some. 97 was the peak, the top of the attacks, and then we had some few attacks in 97.8, and sightings until 1982. I was there in January of 2024, and I spoke with people there, and they still haven't seen, they still are sighting UFOs in the sky, or in the sky, or in the river.
They're still
So
seeing this. They're still seeing sights, you're saying?
yes, they still. So the sightings continue, not like that,
No,
attacking, but
no more attacks, but like
no
just
more attacks.
crafts.
Yes, just crafts and orbs and probes and fireballs in the sky, uh, coming in and coming out of the rivers, water rivers. So the activity there is huge. If you want to investigate, you're gonna find a lot of cases there.
Do you know if there's like legend type stories about that area from long ago? You know, some different parts of the world will have historical accounts of like beings from thousands of years ago. Does Colares or that part of Brazil have any of that kind of historical legend type thing?
Yes, all the legends and the folklore in north of Brazil, northeast of Brazil, they were built uh, over something. For example, we have a folklore in Brazil, a legend in Brazil called uh, water and mother, or gold mother. What was that? It's a ball of light, very bright, that come out of the river or lagoons and chase people in the jungle. What was that? Sounds familiar for you?
Sounds familiar. Yeah. Yeah.
So we have the Curupira. Curupira is a entity, is a entity, small entity that has pointed ears, and the feet is turned out, turned side back, and he runs in the forest to take people that put fire or cut trees in a jungle. So we have a lot of legends and folklore here in Brazil based in something that people saw. Every folklore, every legend is a try to understand something that someone saw or
Right.
someone cannot explain. So
Right.
something real happened, and I cannot explain. I create a legend. I will create a folklore, but something happened there to create that.
Yeah, for sure. Have you heard of the hitchhiker effect?
Yes, yes,
So do you think it sounded like from the interview that I watched that Holanda gave to AJ, it sounded like he had some of that going on afterward. He was talking about when he was at home with his wife and his daughter that things would just kind of fly across the room. So he had a lot of like what people would say is paranormal. So it sounds like he kind of had a little bit of that too. Did you know about that too? It was weird.
yeah,
That's
yeah,
so
and
weird.
it's weird. And Elizondo saw the same thing. Lou Elizondo saw the same thing. I read it in his book. He was in his house and he saw green orbs or fireballs inside the house, and his wife saw it as well.
Yeah.
And Captain Holanda saw the same thing.
Yeah,
They are
that's
they
so
are
weird.
connected. I don't know.
It's so weird. The orbs thing is such a weird. It's because it doesn't, from what everybody says, it's like it's not like a craft. It's just literally like a ball of light that's
And can
floating
cross
around.
through the wall and the
Yeah,
ceiling.
yeah. It's so weird. That's so weird. Okay, so as this doesn't have to be just Colares. As far as like other sightings and other reportings, have there ever been material that was retrieved, like metal pieces or anything that was retrieved and studied? Do you know about anything of that nature in Brazil?
Yeah, we have the Ubatuba was a UFO in 1957. A UFO exploded over Ubatuba Beach in São Paulo State, and some of debris uh, were found in the sand, and some people took it. And back at that time, they were analyzed by the Brazilian Mineral Department, and they found that this piece that now is missing, we don't know where is it. Uh, they're missing, and they were 99.99% pure magnesium. That's impossible even today to create something like that.
The pieces that were found, so something, a UFO exploded over the beach. Did they find, was it completely like exploded, or did they ever go looking for like bigger pieces in the ocean? Do you
the,
know?
the most part of the pieces must be in the ocean, but never. I didn't heard that someone went there to to get it. All we know that this UFO exploded over the beach, and some pieces were found in the sand. Many people saw the UFO exploded. It was published in a Brazilian newspaper back that time. But at least one of the piece of this debris were analyzed, and Jacques Vallée, he also analyzed one of the part of this debris, because Andrea Simondini is an Argentinian ufologist. She got a piece of what supposed to be a piece of this UFO, and Jacques Vallée went to Argentina and get a sample to analyze, but I don't know the result. The
I was
results
just gonna ask
of
you
that.
that. So what was the
I don't know.
determination of that?
I'm asking Andrea where are the results, And she told me, Thiago, I'm gonna give to you. Give me more time because Jacques Vallée didn't
When was
send me
that
the
though?
result.
When did he get that piece? Was it
Oh,
recent?
was I think it was 2022 or 20 or 23. I don't know.
Do you know how big
And
the report of like the did they see the object before it exploded?
oh,
Like how big it
10,
was?
10 to 10 to 15 meters. It's huge. It's huge. It was huge.
Okay.
It was like a flying disc, a classic flying disc. There
Definitely
was
ask
rumbling.
Andreas.
Yeah,
Definitely
call
ask because
her. Yeah, go to.
that's
I
that
put
would
you in
be
contact with her.
interesting.
Yeah, I put
That
you in
would
contact
be
with her.
interesting. Like what was the determination there on that piece there? And where is this place at? You said Ubatuba Beach. Where is that
Ubatuba.
at?
Ubatuba Beach is in São Paulo, in the São Paulo
Okay.
coast, São Paulo state coast is Ubatuba.
Okay.
And wow, it was 1957.
Oh wow,
And
that far back. Okay.
yeah, in this case, very, very known outside of Brazil.
Okay.
But we still don't have, the final conclusion because we're still looking for it.
Well, exciting. All right, so I want to ask you something that is more subjective. What do you think is the most compelling or most fascinating UFO report that you've seen? One of, because I'm sure there's many.
Yeah, well, I cannot choose. I cannot choose. A, I cannot choose from between my children. Uh, I like very much the operation plate because we have evidence, not material, physical evidence of the craft, but we have the photos, we have the witnesses, we have the reports, we have the films. But also I like Roswell, United States, Virginia, the whole story of Virginia. We still don't have, of course, the piece of the UFO or a film of the alien, but they have the reports from the military that made the cover up of the story.
Right.
In Brazil, we still have we have still the official night of UFOs when 22 objects were seen and chased by 5 Brazilian jet fighters. We have the
22
communication.
objects on the same
Yes,
night?
at the same night, on the same night,
Whoa.
and
Were
they
they
were
on the,
chased.
sorry, go ahead.
They were chased by 5 jets, the military jets, to trying to investigate and discover what it was. And the people in the ground saw the UFOs, and the control tower, people in towers saw the same. And they got it in the radar, and they got in the radar of their planes. And then we have a first first conclusion of the Brazilian Air Force that where they saw a report, they wrote in a report, or what they saw was something from out of this world. The Brazilian military wrote it and gave to the press. And the day after this citing this case, they put all the militaries in a press conference, and the press had the opportunity to ask them what they saw, and they saw, well, what I saw was not it was in 1986.
Okay.
What we saw was not a airplane, was not a planet, was not a satellite, was not nothing.
So the pilots that were there, they
Yes,
were at the press conference answering questions.
yes,
Oh
yes. And
wow.
they answer all the questions. But what do you think they were? We don't know. We don't know. But it was
Yeah.
controlled by some intelligence.
As far as the Colares incident, with once Hollanda came out and talked about what the truth of what they found, did any other military official come out after that?
Many, many, many. Soldier Flavio was the second leader of the mission. He spoke. Every one of them that participated spoke with the public after Hollanda. So it's not a secret anymore.
Right. Okay.
The Brazilian government, they affirmed that, well, this mission occurred, It's true.
Right.
What happened there is true, but we don't have the answer. And
Right.
no, worst, the Brazilians said that nothing usual happened there. They not deny the Brazilian the final report. They didn't deny what happened, but they cannot explain. They just say
Right.
nothing unusual happened there.
They said nothing unusual happened there.
Unusual, unusual.
Oh.
Yes, nothing weird, nothing strange, nothing uncommon happened there. Well,
That and that you're talking about the 1986 one or the Colares one is what they're saying.
Colares, Colares,
Oh yeah,
Colares.
for 20 years that's what they said. And then
Yeah,
after Holanda came out, they really couldn't say
they
that
they
anymore.
they they remain in silence. They remain in silence. They know
That's
that happened. They confirmed that they had mission there. They confirmed that something was in the sky. The people saw it, but there was a panic. There was a hysteria, but nothing uncommon happened there.
Oh yeah, I saw some other documentary that the doctor what was her name again?
Velaide.
She Vilaji. She said that
Yeah.
the Air Force basically kind of were telling her like, hey, tell these people that they're
Yes,
just seeing things and it's mass hysteria. So that's also really interesting
that's it.
there. Well, the 1986 press conference with those pilots, that's pretty interesting. I didn't I'm also kind of new to this, so I'm sure a lot of UFO people know about that, but I didn't know about that. Has there been any other incidents like that where there's been a lot of objects in the sky and then jet fighters chasing them?
No,
Or was that like
chasing,
the last one?
not chasing, but
Trying to
at
figure
the
out.
end, yeah, at the end of 2022 to 2023, more than 50 pilots from different airline company here in Brazil, they saw UFOs in the south of Brazil, Santa Catarina, Rio Grande do Sul, in Paraná states. Many of these sightings of this report, we could solve it. What it was a lighthouse in a coast, or was a Starlink satellites or planet. Misunderstanding of the pilots. Even they were the best to understand what's on the sky.
Mhm.
But a few of these reports, there's no explanation at all, because, and we have some records, but the records just a light that make a smooth movement, nothing, like a great speed. But we have some report that pilots say, well, this UFO just chase me, or follow me for 1 hour and a half, and then uh, speed away to the space. So something like that. It's not a satellite. It's not a lighthouse. Nothing like this. So we have some kind of cases, but not no military jet were prepared to chase these UFOs.
Okay. All right. So I heard on the Weaponized podcast that you were on that your dad was a Brazilian Air Force intelligence person. And can you tell us about that very amazing gift that he gave you? Because that is like unheard of. I wish I had that opportunity. Tell us about that and tell us about what you saw a little bit, if you can.
Yeah, my father, at the end of his life, he was working at A2. A2 is a Brazilian Air Force intelligence, and he was divorced of my mom, and some each 50 days I spent the weekend with him, me and my brother. Uh, and I always ask him if he had something about the UFOs in the A2, the intelligence. So you must have something. And he always said, no, I don't have it. I don't have nothing. And I ask him, always ask him. And one day I asked him again, and he picked up the phone and he called to a soldier, or I don't know. And he told on the phone, bring the 2 boxes with UFO documents. And this brought 2 boxes. Is a brown box, paper boxes. It's not big, but normal to put files. And my father told me, you have 10 minutes to see everything you want in those boxes.
How old did you say you were?
10 minutes.
How old were you?
I was 91. And I was 16.
Okay.
16 years
Nice
old.
age. Perfect age to remember.
To remember, but not to make the best decision. You know why.
Yeah.
So I start to get all the files, and I got one file that had a photo, a clear photo of a UFO. A pilot had turned to the left, and people, there's no cell phone back that time. Okay, 1991, there's no cell phone. It's a machine phone. It's a camera. It's a camera, normal camera film.
Yeah.
And he just turned to the left and took a photo of the window of the airplane of a UFO, a disc-shaped UFO, silver, very shine, reflecting the sunlight because it was the sun, was daylight, and there's no window, nor wings, nothing, not tail, nothing. And this UFO was 300, 400 meters from the airplane, very close, very close. And I saw the photo was perfect. If I show this photo today, you're gonna tell me, oh, this is artificial, is an artificial intelligence or Photoshop or something like that, because it's so perfect. And I got this photo and asked my father, can I have it? Hey, no, you just have 7 minutes and 35 seconds. I said, Dad, can I make a copy? Remember, the phone, there's no camera.
Yeah.
There's no phone at all. And
Yeah.
the copy machine was black and white as well.
Black and
There's no
white, you
color.
wouldn't be see
Yeah,
much. Yeah.
there's
Yeah.
no color black and white. No color photo copy. And he said, no, and you have 7 minutes and 25 seconds. So I was 16. So I make the bad decision because I got small cases, some with drawings, and start to copy by hand. I start to copy, and drawing the drawings that I saw. And I took, I think I was 19 cases in a paper. And my father took the boxes again, put away again. And when I get home, I start to type in an old machine type, and I still have it today.
What
So
are some of those?
those cases, I never saw published in anywhere. So
Interesting. So
I
not
have
even
one.
with the freedom of information now,
Yes,
it wasn't
yes.
released.
There's one in 1928 to 29 March 20. I'm reading the file.
Okay.
Was in March, 9 o'clock, 28 to 29, 1984. The UFO saw a UFO. The pilot saw a UFO, like a bullet, with a ray, like green, very strong, a high speed, and was gone in 10 seconds. The altitude was between 15,000 and 20,000, and there was nothing in the radar. So, and the UFO has no engine, there's no wings, there's no tail, nothing, just a bullet shape.
And it was green around it, or green like coming
Around
out
it,
of around it?
and yes, and a very bright green light. And let me see over here. That's in 71, in December 23, 71. a crew of their plane saw two UFOs following their plane in each side, and then they went to the front of their plane and shoot down to the space, spit out
And
to
what
the
kind of
space.
plane was this? I'm sorry, I missed it. What kind of plane was it? It was
As
like a commercial plane?
it's a commercial plane. All these cases here, I'm ready. Is a commercial plane. So I have cases here in 71, 85, 84. There are many cases, and there were much more there.
Were,
67, 67, 85, many cases.
did you see any in those boxes that had anything with beings, like with non-human intelligences?
No, no, no. Nothing
Those were
about
just
nothing about the plate operation. I was
okay.
in 91. There's nothing about plate operation plate here in
Hmm.
Brazil. So this was how many cases I got was 16 cases, and I
16
wrote,
cases.
I type it at the end of the cases. This data were taken from the third command regional aero command of Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. It's the third Comar in Brazil, so they're real. These cases were there.
Wow. I'm gonna have to um I'm gonna have to bring you back and see if we can go through some of those cases. And I don't know, maybe I'll do like a help you and maybe put it through artificial intelligence.
Yeah, I'm gonna send you the files. You can see it.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you. So what do you have any like I mean, I'm sure there's always sightings, always reportings. Do you have any like really good ones that are recent?
I'm looking. I'm investigating a case, but just start to investigate. He's a woman filmed a UFO that she thinks, or she told me that the UFO landed near here in Brasilia, in a city near Brasilia, but didn't leave any kind of trace in the ground. But she said, "Well, I saw it. The UFO was like a ball, a sphere, and landed because I saw the luminosity in a wood in a in a no, she lives near a wood here in Brasilia,
Okay.
and she told me that, well, after that I start to have dream dreams with nightmares with short entities like grays. I
Oh,
start to
interesting.
investigate because I
Uh-huh.
don't know if it just landed or she's so impressed by that and start to read a lot about UFO and get impressed
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
start to dream something that
Right.
was not real. So I have to
Right.
investigate.
Oh, well, when you how long does it usually take to do like these investigations actually? I'm curious.
Well, depends. At minimum to get all the information 2 or 3 months,
Okay.
because you have to
Okay.
analyze not only the testimony, you have to analyze if you have the photos or the videos, but you
Right.
also have to go to the Brazilian Air Force or the military police or the civil police or the fire department to see if they have some kind of information that corroborate the sighting, and you have to go there and have to talk with the neighbor and to trying to find other people that saw the same thing. So 2 3 months to get the case closed.
Okay. Okay. Well, if you or when you find out about that, that would be a cool one to kind of go over.
Perfect.
Um, one thing that I actually we kind of kept talking, and I forgot to ask you what I wanted to ask you when you were talking about the UFO that exploded over Ubatuba Beach and that valet got a piece of it. I remember you saying talking about some other piece that was mostly magnesium. Was that from that same place?
The same place, the same place.
Okay,
But
but it was
this was
obviously someone else.
yeah, this analyzed it was analyzed in 1957,
Okay.
and this piece just disappeared because it was sent to the United States to investigate and
Okay.
disappeared. Here in Brazil, were analyzed by the Mineral Department of Brazil, and the result was the metal debris was 99.99 pure magnesium. It's
That's
impossible to
weird.
find it.
Yeah,
Impossible to
that's
find it.
really weird.
But we don't have this metal because it disappeared.
Okay. Thank you for clarifying that. I was reading that some people thought that it was not necessarily an attack, but like that these beings were doing research or trying to do like some kind of medical operation. What do you think?
In my opinion, we are rat labs for them, as we do with our rat labs.
Hmm.
So we don't have still why they are here and why they're doing that, because we have
Right.
several aspects of the UFO phenomenon. We have the cattle mutilation, we have the abduction, we have the simple sighting, we have the contacts, we have the attacks, we have many aspects of ufology that we cannot understand. And if someone say, "Oh, they are here for that," I don't think so, because, in my opinion, there are several types of aliens here doing what they have to do, and then leave. If they are here to collect our DNA, okay, some. If you're here to collect our iron from our blood, okay. If you're here to cut cut cattle and kill goats
Yeah.
and something like, it's okay.
There's
But
really, yeah.
yeah, we don't have for sure the
Yeah,
reason,
there's no
their
way to
agenda.
know.
They're here
Yeah.
to communicate with the Brazilian, to the government, some kind of secret group of in a government that rule the world. I don't know.
Yeah. There's a lot of theories out there.
They are.
Just a couple more questions. Thank you so much for your time.
No problem.
Um, I think I already sort of have an idea of what the answer is to this because of what we've already talked about. But do you know if there's any next steps in UFO research for Brazil?
Well, the next step is it's us. We do the next steps, because the government is gonna do nothing. We are, as a Brazilian Commission of Ufologists, we are trying to get an audience in the Brazilian Congress to speak and ask for the disclosure of the documents. That's our
Okay.
struggle. We're struggling for that. It is our fight, because if you not do this, the press, the Brazilians, they will not do nothing to get
What do
the
you
truth.
Yeah. What do you find from the Congress? Have you guys already started with communicating with the Congress people of Brazil? Like what do you sense is their like mindset toward this? Are they at all interested? Are they completely uninterested? Are they asking questions? Are they even taking conversations from people who are trying to bring this
Well,
to their attention?
uh, well, some congressmen, they 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 are in by our side. They believe, they think this is very important to Brazil as a national security, as a technology, as a knowledge. But as I said, as a Brazilian government, they have more problems to deal with. So when we have this chance, this opportunity to bring such a debate to the Congress in Brazil, we have to take it. And now we are having this opportunity. In 2022, we had an audience on Senate of Brazil, and was very good. because we have space in the media, we have a place to debate with the scientists and people that, okay, now you want to know the truth. Let's talk about what's possible, what's not possible. So it's an opportunity to ask for the disclosure, and we are looking for it. And thanks God, some congressmen they want to fight with us to get the truth.
That's good. That's good. That was in 2022, though, right? Like, it's a slow process. We're there too. You know, we were hoping for the UAPDA thing to pass in Congress, and it didn't. So, you know, it's not the only way to come about disclosure. We everybody's got to do their part and try to figure out different ways. But I think everything helps. So I wanted to ask you, since you were just talking about that disclosure leading to like advancement in technology, or even to the extent of spiritual growth, human growth, that kind of thing. What do you think is the most important and profound outcome of disclosure? Like, if we were to bring disclosure, what do you find is the most important aspect of that?
Well, I don't believe that they're gonna make a full disclosure. I don't believe, and I don't believe that they're gonna make it a real disclosure. Something always gonna be hide. Something always gonna be hide. Just maybe because of a security, national security. Maybe because the people cannot. They think that people cannot handle the truth. But I think that the most important, if we get the disclosure, is to confirm that everything that we are saying since the 40s, since the 50s, is true. We have been visited by extraterrestrials, or or a civilization from a parallel universe, another universe, or
Yeah.
or from bottom of our sea. So just to confirm that they always they since for 15 years, 16 years, the government, the military will say, "Wow, you're crazy. There's nothing there. There's nothing in the sky. You are so hysterical. It's a panic." Well, the most important thing is that we are not crazy. Everything that we looking for and said in decades is true.
Yeah, I think that's the first step. I think we're at a point now, unfortunately, that like if somebody were to come out and just say, "Oh, this is true," people want more. People are like, "Okay, well, show me the craft. Okay, well, show me the dead alien being." Like, it's just this line that we're looking for to confirm whether or not this is real. It just keeps getting higher and higher and farther and farther. And I think the first step is what you just said, which is these things are real. That, you know, we've been hiding it for whatever reason. um, and I don't know, I hope that disclosure, I think disclosure of any level is going to bring about other positive things. Do you know if your government would want to be first with disclosure, or they just kind of really don't care? Because I get the sense that no government wants to talk about it, no government wants to admit it. But if somebody else were to come out, then they're going to be like, well, why can't we be the first ones? What do you think?
No, we're not gonna be the first one. We're
No,
not gonna
yeah.
be. No, we not
Well,
care.
I
We
don't
don't
know who's
care.
going to be the
It's gonna be
first one.
a big and a great surprise if we have if you are the if you were the first. But I don't think we're gonna follow. We're gonna follow the United States. We're gonna follow Russia, China, if they do the disclosure, we're gonna follow it. But I don't think we are the first, Brazil, we are the first and the most open, one of the most open country about the UFO subject. It's a fact. It's a fact.
Okay.
I don't think that
Okay.
no other country had publicized so many documents about UFOs. We have
Yeah.
the committee in France. We have some investigation in Chile, in Uruguay, in Argentina, but the Brazil was the first and the biggest country to release the documents. So we are part of the story.
Yeah, and
But I
you
don't
had
think,
that press conference too with the pilots.
yes, and for the first
Yeah.
time in a hearing in a Senate of Brazil in 2022, with the first in the world, we had hearing
Oh,
in United States, but was not an official hearing. We have now the I forgot the whistleblowers. They went there.
Grush, the one
Grush,
our
yes,
whistleblowers. Yeah,
Grush,
Grush.
Grush was there. But the first time in the world that the Senate came call for a hearing to talk about UFO was in Brazil.
Interesting. I
So
did not
we
know
are, we
that.
are pioneer. We are pioneer in many aspects of the UFO, but not investigate to investigate to get the technology. No, we are far away from the United States, far
Well, I'm so glad
behind.
that yeah, I'm so glad that you came on because like I said, I really wanted to try to show people that it's not just a United States phenomenon. It happens all over the world. And Brazil's actually, you guys are up there with the sightings. And I mean, it's a huge country. But like I mentioned off camera, that Preston Dennett has so many accounts from you guys from Brazil. And so it's really important that people know that this is happening all over the world. And hopefully you guys can get something to move forward with disclosure as well. I don't care who comes out first. I just I just
Me,
want this to be a
me neither.
conversation that
Yes,
everybody has, you know?
me neither. Me
Yeah,
neither. I hope that the truth come from China, from United States, from Russia, from Brazil, from
yeah.
Argentina. I don't care. I don't care. I
I
don't.
don't
I
care.
just think
Yeah.
that we have the right to know the truth.
Absolutely. I agree with you completely. And yeah, I agree with you. So I really thank you for everything that you've done for the UFO community for 30 years. I'm new here, so I'll be messaging you for tips on
You
how
are
to
the
make a
next
difference.
generation. You are the next generation. I'm getting old, and
No,
you're gonna keep it.
you'll this is a topic that I feel, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like this is for me is going to be lifelong. I'm not going to drop this, and anybody that I've met that's been in this seriously has been in it for 30 plus years, even with so many disappointments and so many points where you think that there's going to be disclosure and then there isn't, and you just keep going. So I think the UFO community are a bunch of really, really strong people, very willing to just not give up. And so thank you so much. Thank you for being with me today
Thank you very
and answering
much.
your questions.
And
Yeah.
when you get more famous, when you have more than 20 millions of subscriptions in our channels, don't forget the old guy here.
I
Call
will not
me in 10 years.
you I will definitely have you on more times. I really, really appreciate you giving me the time. I'm such a small channel, and you were so gracious to give me some time and talk about Brazil. So thank you so much.
It's my pleasure. Thank you very
All
much
right.
for invitation, and you're gonna have you do a great work because ufology is so passion. Once you get into it, you cannot leave it because it's amazing.
It is amazing. I love it. I want my room to look like yours. So I'm gonna start working on that. I need a couple aliens in the back or something.
That's great. That's great.
All right, Tiago. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Stephanie.
Have a have a good one. It
You
was nice
too.
to meet
Bye bye.
you. Bye.